Hello and welcome back to Wake Up Our Faith in Business. This is the show where we take that between Sundays chunk and ask questions like, how do we begin to live out faith and our excellence, our genius in business, where we spend the majority of our times. We use this segment to interview folks and highlight businesses and talk about applicable and practical ways that you can begin to do this. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams with you here. We're the co-founders of Uprint, and we are joined in studio today by Mr. Chris Hutchens.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
What's happening, brother?
Not much. Same old, same old.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Well, so let our audience know a little bit about, you, who you are, that kind of stuff. I know it, but you just tell them.
All right. So I work for a mortgage company called Guaranteed Rate. I've been with Guaranteed Rate pushing 6 years now. I've been in the mortgage business since about 1997. And I manage an office with 16 employees that's grown quickly, not overnight, but it kind of feels some days like it's overnight. So everything's good. It's good to be in the mortgage business in Wilmington, North Carolina, too.
That's right. Good things happening here.
That's exactly right. You have to be in an area where people want to come to, obviously. We all live here for reasons. The economy's good, obviously the weather, et cetera. So it's good to be here. That's
awesome. One of the questions, man, a lot of folks watching the show are maybe in a job they don't love. They're kind of looking for something else. I know you're always recruiting. How did you get in the mortgage business, and what do you maybe look for someone in that regard?
So, I'll take it like really far back. So I graduated UNCW with a finance degree, and I was a numbers guy. And you may or may not know, some of this, but I was a numbers guy. This is way before your time. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. My assumption was I was going to go to work for a bank, and I did. What I didn't know, and I don't think college prepared you for this, but I went into a sales role. And so I went to work for Nations Bank, which became Bank America, and they were like, hey, we're going to give you a point, a bonus, or whatever you want to call it, if you do this, 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 and this. You open an account, refer somebody to the mortgage or IRA or whatever. Well, next thing you know, I got in there for a few months, and I figured out I was pretty good at it. And next thing you know, I start winning awards, and you can relate this to the insurance business, right? Next thing you know, you figure out, hey, I'm pretty good with this, Next thing you know, they're sending you on trips and stuff. So, next thing I know, I'm juggling a whole bunch of different things, and I start having relationships with mortgage companies. And not only are they making more money than I'm making, but that's all they're doing. That's their concentration for 8 hours a day is doing that. Meanwhile, the bank had me, seeing people that walk in the door to balance a checkbook and help them with an equity line, a mortgage, a credit card. And so I kind of wanted to zero in on something that I enjoyed a little bit more. And really, that's what my degree was for, It wasn't to balance a checkbook. Nothing wrong with that. That wasn't what I went to school for. And so I went to work for Alpha Mortgage in 1997 and worked there almost 17 years. And so I became pretty good at that. I became pretty good at being the banker, and it just got better and better. And like any sales role, and we're all selling something. You guys are selling something, right? Mm-hmm. When you're passionate about it and you enjoy it, you're going to be successful at it just because people feel how passionate you are about it. Mm-hmm. So next thing you know, 20 some years go by, I just did an article for some Cape Fear Real producers, and the opening line was like, Chris has been in the business for a quarter century. And I was like, ugh. Nothing makes you feel old like you've been in it a quarter century. But I tried to make the best of it. So it put it in perspective, that's for sure.
Well, that's been good.
Well, we so appreciate you and your partnership, and
sure.
I think just tapping into that, one of the words you used several times was enjoy. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a marker for something that's in you that's a gift, and something you can tap into. So just take a second or a minute, whatever feels right, and just, Chris, what's your gift, man? You got the surrounding fruit of it, but go there a minute.
Well, I think, a lot of people say they want to do something to help people. I think that's part of it. I don't want it to sound corny. That's not like the first thing I would lead with, but that's part of it, right? Sure. We all want to help somebody in whatever we're doing. Yeah. I think I figured out, like I said, I was good at it. I tell the loan officers at the office, I'm like, 50% of your job is sales and 50 is attention to detail. And I happen to have that balance. You can be a great salesperson and then you don't have any detail with you, then you're not going to be a great salesperson long. You're going to look like a fool, right? And if you got unbelievable engineer brain attention to detail, but you can't sell anything, then you'll fail. Right. So I think to your point, I enjoy it because I have that balance. I'm able to do both, and I think it resonates with people. Every once in a while, I don't public speak like Matt, but every once in a while when I speak, I say that I'm successful because I can relate to anybody. I've been a first-time home buyer. I've owned a second home. I've owned another company. Yeah. I've owned a rental property or multiple. And there's not many people that can come in and go, this is my situation. I go, wow, I've never seen that before. Relatability is obviously probably the buzzword for that. Mm-hmm. I feel like I can relate to anybody because I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, let me add one more thing. Sure. Because I've been in it so long, I've seen good markets. I've seen bad markets. I've seen the chaos of what, became 2003, 4, and 5 that became a recession. Mm-hmm. So, I've definitely seen the good, the bad, and a little bit of the ugly too, right? I've personally bought property that I shouldn't have bought, I think, again, I can relate. I can feel a storm brewing. If maybe they need to put the brakes on something, I mean, I get paid for advice. Yes. Sometimes, sometimes everybody doesn't take it, and that's okay too. Yeah. But, you can see all sorts of professionals in this world, and you're there to get advice. Ultimately, the decision you make to do something is yours.
Mm. Yeah. What I'm hearing, and we'll put the word empathy on it, but it's leadership when you have that blend of things, and so your recipe is such, it, but you've got the experience and wisdom comes through that, and people can identify with it. So that's what. And that's one of the reasons we stand with you, not just because you're a good partner, but we believe in what you're doing, and people need to get in touch with you when they're looking for that, because you do know.
Yeah.
So just to.
Well, it's the beautiful thing that we see about this, Chris, is the things that we stand for when people are living it out in the city. We want to be about that, and we want to connect people to that thing.
Sure.
And we want to foster this idea that it's about more than bottom lines. It's about taking care of people. Yes. It's about being able to look people in the eye and say, I know at the end of the day, I'm going to do the right thing.
Yep.
I'm not going to be pressured to make decisions from any other place. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have drive. It doesn't mean we don't have goals.
Yep.
It just means that there's going to be integrity in what we do. And so one of the things of all of our partners is that kind of component. And so we appreciate that, man. Now, you guys have just, we got a few minutes left in the segment here, so I want to make sure that you're able to give a market update, let people know where you are and how they can kind of get in touch. So kind of catch us up.
Yeah, sounds great. So we have 2 guaranteed rate offices in town. I manage one of them. We just moved January 1st to 1437 Military Cutoff, Suite 206. For those of you who know Wilmington well, we're right above PT's. Which is the closest PTs to the landfall area, what they call Progress Point, but I don't think many people know it as Progress Point.
Right.
My cell phone number is 910-231-4375. So obviously easily reached right there. And then my email is chris.hutchens@rate.com.
So give us a quick market update, kind of what's going on in Wilmington. What do Wilmington folks need to be aware of in regards to the mortgage business?
So I think, I'm not a realtor, but yet I will speak to the market because that's part of the market. The interest rate market that I could speak to is that, interest rates are relatively flat right now, which is not a bad thing. They're in the mid 4s, which is generally speaking, it's pretty good. It's not all-time low, but it's pretty good. I think post-hurricane, we've had some inventory challenges. That's what I hear on a day in, day out basis. A lot of realtors are struggling to find the houses for their clients. I heard a realtor say last week that he had met with several clients about listing a house, and they're all the mindset is, let's wait till the spring. Let's wait maybe till my yard looks green or those types of things. And he's like, there's no inventory. List it now. When you list it in April, so is everyone else. Why not list it now? So, I mean, it's just sort of food for thought for those that are thinking they can time the market. The market when it's hot, we already know it's hot, The spring's not necessarily going to make it better, but we're on the cusp of the spring market, which is usually our busiest time of the year. So we're sort of ramping up ready to be done with winter, ready to get through the spring.
Yeah, it's funny. We said in the last segment, spring's coming, in many ways.
I think we're all pretty anxious for that. These gray days out there, that's not what people move to Wilmington for.
That is it. That is it. Well, Chris, man, thanks so much just for your time to share your heart today.
Yes.
We appreciate you, man. You've been with us since the very beginning. We appreciate that and what we're able to do here for our listeners and viewers. So one more time, real quick, just share Chris Hutchens with Guarantee Rate Mortgage. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Email is probably the quickest, quite honestly. Email or myself, chris.hutchens, that's with an E, Hutchens @rate.com.
And then the cell phone one more time.
910-231-4375. And I appreciate all y'all do to promote us.
Yeah.
If you're on military cutoff, just look over PTs. That sign's awesome. I see it every day, man. So.
Yeah, that's
There's
it.
good visibility.
That's it, man. That's it. Well, guys, thanks so much. Chris, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to take a short break and be back in the second segment here. You're listening to and watching Wake Up Our Faith in Business. Matt Ham and Kevin Adams back for more right after this. Hello, and welcome back to Wake Up Our Faith in Business. This is Matt Ham and Kevin Adams, co-founders of Uprint, helping you navigate life between Sundays, where you spend the majority of your time, and that is in business. Many thanks to Chris Hutchens, one of our corporate partners, for joining us in the first segment there to give us a little market update and a little bit of a snapshot into who he is and his business. I've personally used Chris for mortgages in my life. My family has as well. So anybody that has that need, we're always going to send them that direction. Our corporate partners make this show possible. We like to thank them and recognize them on air. One of those being Physical Therapy Services of Wilmington. That's ptservicesofwilmington.com. Serving southeastern North Carolina since 1983. Family owned and operated with more than 100 years of experience in the clinic there. Offices at 17th Street and new offices out at Porter's Neck. Give Russ and his team a call, 910-763-8286.
Yeah, that Porter's Neck office is really nice. I haven't been in it, but I've seen it for Russ.
Yeah.
So
it's doing well for him too. I talked to Russ frequently, and he said it's just going great.
Yeah.
It's funny. This is a little side note about that. Russ being in the PT business, he talked about the opioid crisis, which is a big kind of like buzz kind of social cause thing, and he was just saying that a good physical therapy service would alleviate, some of the need for the opioid usage that kind of gets folks addicted.
Yeah,
and so,
sense.
he sees such a vital role in the PT side of his business to kind of help aid in that. And so that's kind of an unknown way. I didn't really see that being tied together, but it does make sense. So it's a pretty cool article there.
Yeah.
So Kev, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just say we're kicking off this faith in business here, and we've had a number of episodes, a number of interviews, but really want to dive back into kind of this business side of things that that we find people wanting to navigate.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think in our first hour, what we were getting to, what's the whole idea here? What you have a dream. Everybody's got a dream. We're not talking about the thing where you go to sleep and you see weird stuff. I had a really weird one last night, but I'll save people the headache.
Can only imagine.
But God puts a dream in your heart, and your heart follows your spirit. As long as you can learn how to quiet the mind, you want to be on fire in your spirit. And listen, because that's where God speaks to us. So he may give you a thought, and you feel the thought comes into your head, but it always comes from the Spirit. That's where that still small voice is. So that's the origin. So once you get this thing in order and you can rest your mind, then that thing becomes louder and you can hear it more. He's always talking. We just need to improve our listening skills, not necessarily our mental or our willpower intelligence. So the first step in this is recognizing you have a dream, but you got to get past go. You got to live this thing out. Being stuck at go is just talking about Jesus on Sunday. So getting past that is recognizing that you're actually a son or a daughter of the living God, just like Jesus. Now, he's begotten, he's the seed of God, but we're adopted in. So we are following him into that role. And he's the head. He's at the right hand of the Father. We're in the earth. We're in him. He's in us. Guess what that means? It means we got to be like him and be him in the earth. So that's the big picture. Now, we're not saying we are him. We're saying he lives in us. We got to let him out. Now, you do that through your shape, through your recipe, through your, mat stew, whatever you want to call it. But that's a strata of different things. And so we talked about that a little bit. Your first desire of your heart must be to please your Father. It's much better to aim to please him than just hang out and serve him, because that becomes about you and your commitment and your striving, when it's really more about surrendering and yielding and affection and following. You don't want your kids, people say, well, God doesn't need me, yeah, and that's great, but recognize how much better it is to be wanted than needed.
Yes.
Because when you're not needed anymore, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
But you want, being wanted is desired. Song of Solomon, it's a great picture of a marriage, a holy communion between a husband and wife, and that is how God feels about us, his bride. So all that said, getting back to, you can't argue this. We can C.S. Lewis our way through it, and you're going to end up in a corner, and you got to make a choice. Am I going this way or that way? And there's only one way through this if you're a believer. So what's your dream? Okay, you agree you got something going on in there, and then how to get past go. So a lot of people believe it, and then they get past, or they get stuck on go, and they never move throughout the game board, so to speak. So what we do, and we'll get into how we do it, but what we do is we help people understand that they're on this thing, and their life matters, and then they how to step past go, and you can't do it by yourself. You can't isolate and hang out and pray from a chair and it just pops into thin air. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. So one of the things that hit me from Chris's conversation, that as it ties into this, is that word that you brought up, enjoy.
Yeah.
He started talking about things that he enjoys doing. And in tying that into this conversation, about helping people maybe discover what that thing is, is there a tension between the things that we enjoy doing and the thing that we were created to do? Like, are they always going to line up? And like, how do we begin to navigate that tension? Because one of the things, a key marker for us, is what we call vocation frustration. Mm-hmm. And this is where someone who's like, oh, yeah, got to go to work again today, right? And so if enjoyment is not a part of your day, is that a trigger? Is that something for people to kind of begin wrestling with?
Mm-hmm. Well, look, every day has its own battles. Jesus said each day has enough trouble of its own. So we know that we're in the world and we have an enemy that wants to derail what God's doing. So you can kind of expect that. You don't have to live for that or in defense of that. You don't need to fight the enemy. You need to move forward into your role, and God will do the fighting for you. But you do have to step into the battle. So part of that is recognizing that there are days we're just not going to like. You get sick, stuff happens. So that's the exception. But generally, you want to come from a place of joy. So enjoy is just a fruit of that. So God says, count it all joy. So in a sense, you can find joy in everything. So the laboring to enter his rest is about understanding, going away from man's perspective to man's perception to God's perspective, and seeing the world the way he does. When you know you're a son, that means you're an heir. You're seeing it through his eyes, and you can have that wisdom. He'll give it to you. So what happens is you begin to grow in that, just like Jesus did in stature, and God fills you. So, I sound like a preacher. What I'm trying to do is express this in just enough of a succinct way for people to grab it. But God wants you to enjoy your life, just like he wants you to enjoy good food. Why the heck do you have taste buds? Why do you laugh at comedy? God gave you that. So he is about enjoyment. Why does he say, I'll give you the desires of your heart? Part of that desire is built around joy. And if you get past what we call neutral, then you end up you can fall right into despair. That's where the enemy wants you.
Mm.
So what we teach people is you got to stay from neutral all the way to joy. If you have a bad day, don't get past neutral. Yeah. So you have to kind of combat that. And that takes some effort. But the point is yes, enjoyment is a part of joy, and that is absolutely from God. We want to go there all the time. It doesn't mean we're always going to get there.
Yeah. So for someone who's not experiencing joy, what's the process step? What's the thing for the person who goes, man, I'm not enjoying my life right now, going beyond just had a bad day.
Yeah.
What's the next thing in that trajectory for folks to kind of begin wrestling with?
Yeah, well, you know me, I'm going to slap them around and say, look, count it all joy, do you believe it or not? I'm kidding. I'm not really that mean and nasty. I'm really a nice guy. But we stand on the word like it's a weapon and it's a battle armor. And so that doesn't mean being tough on people. It means this is truth or it's not. Mm-hmm. And we stand on it. It's truth. So what do we do with that? Well, everybody deals with it differently. But so getting to that place, it becomes like that chiropractic adjustment where we're talking about you've got to learn how to listen to the Spirit. You've got to learn how to quiet the mind. You've got to let your heart be stout, and it will follow the Spirit, and things will happen. You'll create. God will do it. So that in itself is a process.
Yeah,
I can talk all day about it.
Yeah, well, it's a good starting point. I think if joy is missing, if you're not enjoying something, give reason to pause and listen to your heart a little bit.
Yeah,
about what's going on.
That's right,
and that's a birthplace of bringing that dream and God's vision to life. So, Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, taking a break. Back right after this. Hello and welcome back to Wake Up Our Faith in Business. This is the second hour of our show dedicated to helping you live out your genius and excellence where you spend the majority of your time, and that is in your business. Had a great guest on, one of our corporate partners, Chris Hutchens. Want to thank our corporate partners for making this show possible, one of those being Freeman Landscaping, the largest privately owned land and irrigation firm in eastern North Carolina, serving the area since 1992. Fantastic family-owned business, both residential and commercial landscaping. 910-796-1166 for all of your landscaping needs. So, Kevin, we've talked today's show about what is your dream, how to live it out, but also to letting folks know how we provide a context and a process for this to unfold. Yeah. And so I want to really unpack that for people. So the show's 2 hours, so there's a lot of stuff we've gone through. No need to recap. You can go back and watch it. But just letting folks know how to begin to step into this and some of the great things that God's doing to make this possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was born in 1966. No need to go back, huh? Look, we've got two different areas that we deal with. And really it encompasses your whole life, which is something that, God put on your heart a few years ago, and it's perfect. This is, you've got to consider, you've got X amount of days. Our days are numbered. Mm-hmm. So this isn't doom and gloom, but it's about valuing every day and living for something that'll matter eternally, or what we say 1,000 years, because that's kind of tangible and it's powerful. So, but you want to live that thing out 1,000 seconds at a time. So what we're saying is we believe being a Christian is, in obedience, is understanding how to go from this idea of just praising Jesus and thanking him, on Sunday, to understanding that you are a son or daughter of the living God, meant to know the Father as a Father and be filled with the Spirit and empowered to do something amazing in the world while you're here. So there's enough of a recap. But so what we've got is a whole system, from a daily dose, a seed, all the way up to huge audiences and being able to carry this message. So there's training, teaching, meeting your needs from physical to spiritual, emotional, and it's just, and God's bringing more and more people to kind of fill this out. So our partners included. So anyway, but the two paths are, you've got where you spend most of the time in your week and what we call business. Now, if you're a mom, then your business is your kids. So you don't get to escape. So it's business, meaning 5-day week, 8 to 5 or whatever. That's the context. That's where most people spend their time. They don't spend it in church. They spend it in business of some sort. So that's really important. So we've built out a whole system and are working on that now to help people understand how to carry out this dream in that context, because that's where you are. That's where people cross your path. I mean, how can you argue with that, right? Unless you're just hanging out in a chair in a closet somewhere, which isn't. I doubt that's the dream that God put in your heart. Although you might need to sit there and rest. All right, so the other side is life, your life, because you have relationships, family, people around you. This includes your spiritual life, your weekends, your recreation, every part of your life as a person, as a human being. So there's a lot of things that need to be intuitive or to help launch you into your dream. I don't know many people that will, unless they're being cynical or, smart aleck or whatever, that don't have some kind of dream in their heart. They don't have some kind of bent to help somebody accomplish something. And that comes from God. So what we're saying is we want to get all the way to that thing and remove all the obstacles. So it takes both of these entities. And so you look at your life and then you look at your business. So that's the two pathways, and they're connected. All right. So a lot of stuff there, but that's sky high. We just took the helicopter and flew it down to about tree level. So now we can get on the ground, I guess.
So what's on the ground? So people want to live out their dream. They either do that. They have two areas where they live their life. That's their personal life, their family life, their recreational life, weekends, and then they're in their business. This is their vocation or where they're spending the majority of their time. So how do they integrate?
Yeah. Well, so what you need is you can't isolate. But we know that people have lots and lots of reasons and excuses for not jumping in. And I mean, they're just endless, and we can name all of them and never walk away from the show. So again, let's go back to the basics and just to reiterate. So Uprint as a business, which this is about proof of concept. We are saying we want to live out our faith in our business. So, to prove that it can be done. And instead of, doing it some traditional way and, plugging God in somewhere. But the idea here is to know who you are. We teach people that. We teach people why you're here, to know that, and to carry out your mission. And that's very simple, and we've proven that. So that alone is
we provide content and resources to accomplish those three things.
Yeah. On the life side, we remove obstacles, because that's where you're living out your life and you've got, well, I can't afford this, or I'm stuck over here. You've got a dream in your heart. It may be to heal some disease or solve some technological problem, but you're stuck over here doing this. It's stuff you hate. And, it's not about just throwing it all out and running into jumping out of the plane, but it's a series of steps, and God will take you there if you trust Him and you have the right folks around you. So it starts with your life, and it's carried out through your business. So anyway, let's talk about the what it looks like, the faith and business part, because that's tangible when we're in our faith and business hour. So we've got we're working from a broad. You want to reach everybody, right? So we've got broadcasting, our radio show, podcast, social network. We've got sponsors. But the idea is listen, learn, adapt, partner, and learn study habits, but have daily seats. So you've got speaking with talks, events, group webinars, and those are about leadership because we want to hit leaders. Because there are future leaders, and then there are people who are already in leadership roles. And we believe that if we can reach them, then it will work through, and other people will become leaders because they're following that example. But so God's really opened that up, and that's where you come in so well. Matt is doing more and more speaking events and engaging people and teaching this message in a broad way, and he loves to do it. He's great at it, but he's got a heart and just a real genuine testimony to share. It's a powerful message about stepping out of something that is over and into something that God is saying and doing now. So I don't know if you want to talk about that at all, but that's kind of the leading edge of this thing, what you do primarily.
Well, I think, a friend of mine posed a question the other day, and I thought it was a really cool way of putting it. He said, God, where are you going that I've never been? And, it's just a really cool idea, but, we get to partner with God. That's something we talk about. And so step into what he is doing.
Yeah.
And having the courage and the foresight and go tapping into that dream, understanding that you and God have the same dream, that you're his, little kiddo to live that out. So at the end of the day, this is that kind of proof of concept. And so, all I am here to do is encourage folks and just to show that it can be done and to step it out and then just show how God shows up. And so I think, really just trying to contextualize this for the listener as we're breaking down kind of the dynamic and the structure of what we are offering people and how this is revolutionary and innovative in culture. And it integrates business also with faith and lived out in the world, and taps into people's desire to carry out their dream, to know who they are, to know why they're here, and then to live it out in the world.
Yeah. So our business is a faith and business model, but for us, tapping into our gifts, I don't know how much time we got.
Yeah,
here.
we do have a segment coming to a close here.
Okay.
So you will hold on to it? Okay, we'll hold on to it. Guys, this is Wake Up Our Faith in Business. We got to take a short break. But before we do, I want to encourage you guys, you can learn more about this and get plugged in at uprint.life, youprint.life. That is our website, and you can connect with us via email, info@uprint.life. Coming back for the last segment right after this. Hello, and welcome back to Wake Up Our Faith in Business. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, closing out today's show in the last segment here. We want to welcome you guys, welcome our listeners. Thank you for tuning in here to the Big Talker, 106.7 FM. As always, this is rebroadcast to our podcast. Encourage you to check it out. Tons of powerful content there for you guys to navigate. Wake Up Our Faith on iTunes. Our corporate partners make the show possible. We want to recognize Melissa the Coach. Melissa is a speaker and personal financial coach who helps people live intentionally by teaching them to manage money the way God intended. You can connect with her at melissathecoach.com or email her melissathecoach@gmail.com. A quick phone number is 910-338-9612. Kev, continue to kind of unpack for our listeners and viewers, what this dynamic offering is here.
Yeah. So again, there's not enough time to do all this, but the point is what we're teaching people how to do, and not just teaching them, but walking with them in the context of business is all of these different examples and mechanisms and gateways to do this. Most people think I can't carry my faith into my business because they think it's preaching from the desk or whatever, and it's not. That doesn't work. So you have to live this out through excellence, innovation, knowing who you are. And Truett Cathy of Chick-fil-A is a great example. We use that over and over, but that's the best fast food place in the country. And there's lines always around the door. Well, we know what they believe, and atheists know what they believe, but they go eat some good food. So they're showing us an example. Well, we have other businesses, we've experienced them around here, who don't want to touch it. They'll say, we believe, but we'll even put scripture on our cups. But we don't want to work with you guys because you'll alienate our customers. I'm stepping out and saying that because it makes me kind of sick. But that said, so our goal isn't to beat people up. Our goal is to say you can live this out. So specifically in business, not only that we've set up a business, but we've also are teaching people and walking with them, whether it's groups, crowds, groups, all the way down to a moment in the morning with a seed. So that is the context, but it's about communication, teaching, walking with, coaching, discipleship, all of that. In business, we use the word coaching, mentoring, but it's the same pill in every bottle. So it's walking with people. So we got speaking, broadcasting. God's done all this, opened doors and connected us in the community and beyond in business. And he's bringing great partners. But the bottom line is about faith in business is to help people carry this out, just like Chris or Melissa, who was here, what was last week, and a variety of others. Greg Veman, these people are doing it. So we want to highlight that, but we also want to teach you how to do it. Okay, so that's what faith in business is about. That's what UPrint essentially does. All right, so publishing would be our courses. Then we've got Life Center support, like Portable Faith Community, where you get a text every day, and we're working on building out a whole business side of that too. So it's about community, it's about support, it's about teaching, it's about walking with you through this process. You're not alone. All right. So that said, it's so big.
In a nutshell, it's an innovative way to deliver high-powered content that is about identity and transformation right to you and walk with you like nobody else can.
Yes, that's right. And it's built on just a lifetime of experience and proof of concept. So there's no argument here. If you want to do it, we can help you. And it's a way to sow right back into just a great kingdom effort. So the other side of our business is the nonprofit side, and that's called the Life Center. Now, that's something that we're starting here in the community, but we see it going beyond, and that is removing the obstacles. So not just helping you understand who you are, knowing why you're here, and helping you carry that mission out, but that takes removing obstacles. So this is more tangible, but it is we'll have a campus, and right now, as we're planning that out and looking at it, and more people are getting involved, we're doing what we can. And that's where we are walking with people daily and, in a discipleship role. And that can mean encouragement. It can be marital counseling. I mean, it's just the list is endless. It can mean de-stressing your home of toxic products. We have all kind of things that we're doing as a ministry if you can't afford it, we're there. But we have a lot of people that they don't have time to do these things, but they can afford to donate or contribute. So it works really well. But the idea is to remove obstacles. So we're putting together a really neat dynamic way to contribute where you can gain a whole lot of neat services for it. On the other side, we're trying to find people and families that need help, but it's not just feed them. It's about helping them live their dream out and then all the way back to business. So if you've got somebody that wants to live it out in the context of business, what are the obstacles? And how many people have obstacles? Most people are stuck somewhere, and a few people are doing this. So it could be financial, it could be health, it could be wellness, it could be
relational,
problems. You don't know how to deal with the people at work. You don't know how to handle this thing going on with your spouse. You're having struggles with your kids. You have addictions. I mean, it's all of it. And it's our goal is to remove that, get you healthy, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and provide a way for you to keep going, and we'll walk with you. That's the difference between a church or Tony Robbins or John Maxwell, is we're going to walk with you personally from start to finish. And it's a very powerful idea. And so we're not trying to throw out church. We're saying, look, we're tearing down the walls. This needs to happen. So you got Life, which is Life Center. And, it's going to be an amazing place. God's working on that. But we're getting started right now on the ground, helping people right where they are, from college students to, just regular folks. So anyway, there's a lot more to it, but you put your spin on it and put context on it, because I can go real wide on it.
Well, I think the bottom line is why would somebody care, right? I mean, that's what I'm sitting here thinking in my head. Why would somebody care? And to me, the answer is because you have a dream in your heart that has to be lived out.
Yeah.
You have God-given DNA that you have to express in the world.
Right.
And no matter what avenue and effort that you try to fulfill that through, it is going to ultimately fail, including just attendance to a church.
Yeah.
And so what we're saying is you've got to get beyond go in that.
Yes.
You've got to activate your heavenly DNA. Well, guess what? There's challenges along the way.
Right.
There's relational problems. There's financial issues. There's addictions. There's habits. There's social circumstances. Right. So what we have done as a visionary and a leader and a pioneer and a forerunner in this field is created a process by which we can walk with you intimately through that to remove those obstacles so that you can understand the dream. And then we've come underneath it with business connections, publishing, broadcasting, speaking, large-scale developments to be able to live your dream out through our connections and network connections. So this is the solution. You talk very philosophical about it, Kevin, because it was birthed out of your experience and you see this thing. And so what we're saying is move from this place of wanting to get past go and know that we have a road for you to walk on, people to walk with you, for you to become alive and live the life of impact that God's created you to live.
That's it. That's it. And we're doing it all as well to show that it can be done. So we're not just preaching it. We're walking with you, carrying it out, but we're also showing you that, look, we're doing it too.
Yeah.
That we have done this.
Sure.
So there's no argument if you want to live out your dream, but you got this going on or that going on. We're going to help you remove those obstacles. You walk through the process, and this is what sets people free. So it includes a lot of different things, but it's not, a food pantry.
Yeah.
We're talking about wholeness, wellness, getting from where you are to the place where you wake up every day and love your life, and you're experiencing God, and He's experiencing you.
Yeah.
And you're blessing people through your gift set. That's being free.
Right.
That's what Life Center is all about. And Uprint.
Yep. Guys, we appreciate you tuning in. Want to let you know, to get plugged into this, you can contact us at info@uprint.life, or you can become a member of the Portable Faith community to get this content every day and to begin supporting the mission ministry of what we do. That is wakeupmyfaith.com. We'll be back next week for more. You guys be well.